the session will be recorded. So in case you need to go back and look at anything, it will be on YouTube. Yeah, so I think Ronnie can take over.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So today I'm going through the dependence injection. I'll go through Hilt. Just a moment. Thank you. Okay, I'll go through Hilt, and also I prepared some code before that I was just connected to a random API and calling without dependence injection. Now we'll go through the code and add Hilt. Let me share my screen. Sorry, I need to Zoom to access my. Hello, hi guys. Can I just leave then come back? I need to let Zoom access screen recording.
Yes, that's okay.
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Let me now share my screen. Hope you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to go through what's dependence injection. Dependence injection is, when making a software, you need to call so many classes. For example, let's say you are in class A, you want to get class B to be used in class A. That means you will have to create that class B in class A. And for like code performance and everything, having this dependency created by the classes in a lot of like in code performance, code becomes slow sometimes, yeah, and it couples up a lot of things. So with dependence injection, we don't need to create these classes at the place that we want to use them. We can just have a dependency, just create them somewhere, and we just get them and call them in our classes. So if we go here, the first link. This is a good tool by there. I used it. So dependence injection is technique whereby an object, maybe a class is an object, supplies the dependencies for another object. It means that a dependency is an object that can be used. So like I said, we can have dagger Hilt or Hilt, like the object that will supply class B to class A. So that's how the very, very high level of how dependency injection work. So in Android, we are used to that. I have like a demo app here. It's just a simple app that fetches this data and show them in recycler view. So just normal stuff. I have main activity and the adapter to show that list, and I have the main view model that I call the repository. Here in the repository is where I'm calling the retrofit client. This is the retrofit client class. Yeah, I'm assuming that people who are doing this have some familiarity with the retrofit and calling the network API. If so, I can start with simple stuff. Like for example, let's now create, let me just create another package. And just have like class A, let's say class A, and have class B, class B. So let's say here in class B, we have function like function get name, and it return a string, let's say Ronnie. This is a one-liner, but also if you're new Kotlin, you can just start it this way: from get name, return string, and return Ronnie. Yeah, so all these are ways how to write a function in Kotlin. You can use whatever one you like. So let's say class B can get name, can turn Ronnie, and class A now can create class B. So class, let's say function here, let's call object, and let's say class var B is equal to B. Now this B is the variable that contain class B. Now here we can call B dot get name. Sorry, B. You can do that. Sorry, you can do that here. So fun. Start getting name. Let's remove this. So fun start getting name. You can just call B dot get name, and this will get name, will get Ron, the name that you need to do. So normally this is what we'll do most of the time. We create the class where we want to use it, but with dependency injection now, we will just inject this class B here without having to create it in class A. So that's what is going to happen with dependency injection. Now, if we go back to our class, here we have the model, we have the adapter, and here we are just setting the adapter, normal stuff, setting the adapter. And here we are calling the model and getting the data and putting them in the adapter. This is how I'm putting them into adapter. Normally, if you know adapter. So what you can do to make this code kind of good, we'll remove this client and have it like a module, like in Hilt. But before that, I think we need to look at some of the advantages and disadvantages of using dependency injection. One of them is that one advantage of using dependency injection is that it decouples the code. That means many instances of something that can be created once and used anywhere in the project. It also, let me just share something that I downloaded. Just a moment. Yeah, so with, I don't think this number one, it can be an error because with dependency injection, testing become kind of hard, to be honest. It's not that straightforward. It can be an advantage and disadvantage as well, because introducing things like Hilt or Dagger 2 added some of the complexities, yeah, when doing those testing. But it reduces some of the boilerplate code, like for example, Hilt and Dagger 2. When you have to, like, when you start using the maybe Hilt, you need to write a lot of code. But as the project grow, as the code base grow, a lot of boilerplate is reduced. Yeah, so you don't need, but when starting like a small project, you need to set a lot of things for Dagger 2 or Hilt to work. But in meantime, the boilerplates will be reduced as the code grow. Of course, this is easier because they are provided. You don't need even to extend anything. Yeah, help to enable loose decoupling. One of the things that is very much good with injection is the loosing coupling, like having code don't really depend on each other. So now, even if you remove one class, you don't need to change a lot of things. Now here, if you remove B, that means we will change a lot of things in A and so forth. And it becomes even more bad when the code base is so big. Yeah, and also we have the disadvantages. Like I said, it's complex, but with Hilt has really made the Hilt and Coin has really made the injection kind of easy compared to when I started doing DI with Dagger 2. That was hard. I remember doing for the first time, I didn't get anything. I just stopped. And so second time, that's when I got it and stuck to it. And also with Dagger 2 or Hilt, a lot of errors will be caught during compiler time. You won't have anything to do with runtime error. Runtime errors were runtime exception are very, very bad. Like for example, your code can compile perfectly, but when someone is going to use them, they crash. But with the compile time errors, that means your code won't compile. You need to make it work before it compile. That's kind of safety. You are sure that your code has compiled, it won't crash when the person is using it. But with runtime exception, so there's compile time exception and runtime exception. Compile time can be errors. Runtime cannot be error. Runtime can only be exception because that was JVM throws. So you can have error with your Gradle and everything during compile time, your app won't compile, but you can have runtime exception, like for example, null, something is null, you want to access it, things like that. Yeah. So that's one of the things that Hilt and Dagger 2 does perfectly. Yeah. So after saying that, in Android, normally we have, like I said, we have Dagger 2. That's like, this not only Android, but Java, mostly Java and Kotlin. And now we have Hilt, which is built on top of Dagger 2. And also we have Coin. I've not used Coin, but these things are very opinionated. You can just take one and stick to it. I'm stuck with Dagger 2 and Hilt, but to get some people are stuck with Coin. Like I have so many friends like never have done Dagger 2 or Hilt. Like they get the code base changed back to Coin. Like Victor Kabata tried Dagger 2, he didn't like it. Juma don't use Dagger 2. Odari stuck with Dagger 2. So it's more of preference and where you work at, your code base and everything. My workplace, we use Hilt. So it's just basically Dagger 2. Yeah, so if you the thing is, if you know one thing, the other one won't be hard to learn. Like now, I'll just introduce Hilt. But now if you want to go deeper, you can check even Dagger 2. If you want to go to, like, if, for example, if you join a big company, that means if you join a big company that have a very big Android app, there are high chances that they're using Dagger 2 in their product. Yeah. And Coin as well. Hilt and Dagger 2 are related because Hilt is built on top of Dagger 2, but Coin is very different. It's way different. It's a different one. Now, after saying that, now let's go to Dagger Hilt cheat sheet before we dwell on the code. Just a moment. Yeah, this is the hilt and dagger annotation that you need to use. So first thing first, in every Android, the parent, I don't know how to call it, but it's like the parent class is the app. The activities are built on top of the app. So we need to annotate that app class with Hilt Android app. That will now tell the Hilt start generating the dependency that you will provide for it. The way it is here, you see, kind of easy. And in every Android component that we are using, like activity, fragment, service, broadcast receivers, we need to add Android entry point of it. So we'll have activity, and on top of it, we have to add Android entry point, tell the Hilt that this is an Android component and things can be injected to it, but it can't be injected somewhere. Things are being, for example, you can't inject activity like that, like you can inject activity, but with having Android entry point telling Hilt that this activity or fragment will be receiving classes that need to be injected to it. See? And at inject, this is what we use to inject now things in that activity, fragment, anyone that you want to use it, or class. Hilt vmodel telling the Hilt that this is vmodel, this is Hilt vmodel, because vmodel is kind of, let's just say, it's hard to work with, kind of. It's complicated under the hood. And you can just provide the dependencies to it that way. There's a lot of things that need to be done for it to provide the activity dependencies. And you have the module. Module is where we'll have the dependency that we want to inject. For example, we want to inject retrofit, JSON, and everything in that activity, in that module. And we have install in. Installing, that's telling the Hilt that we want to install this module, which has retrofit in the singleton component that will be used all over the app, activity component that will be used on the scope of activity. And if the activity become null or destroyed, those dependencies are removed and garbage collected. And we have fragment scoped. After the fragment has been cleared, everything that injected in that fragment are cleared and garbage collected and everything. Provides and binds. Now, if we have something that maybe third-party library that we want to show to have, but we can't access that code, we now have to provide it. We can't just inject it that way. I'll go through in the code. Mostly I use provide. Bind is more or less than like provide, but yeah, but they're abstract method. I've never used bind that much, but the thing is, if you know how to use provide, nothing can go wrong. So that's what I'm talking about. Singleton. Singleton scoped the whole of the app. That dependency will only be removed when the app is killed. Activity scoped dependency will be removed when that activity is killed. And everything, we have application context. We'll get the context of that application. Activity context, we'll get the context of that activity. So the entry point, just like I said, we tell Hilt, this is where it starts to generate the flag for this particular app. Yeah, so I can see something on the chat. Let me see. Okay, sure. Now, after going through the theory, we can go through the code and look at what now we want to change. Let's just remove this because we won't use it. Let me just, okay, let's remove it for now. Let me just, we'll take another one. So, number one, maybe you can write this thing down. If you want to use Hilt, number one, you need to create application class, that extend application of that app. So Kotlin class, let's just create it, maybe Hilt app, but you can name it anything you like. That's a class. And and that class will extend application. And now, just like I said, just put at Hilt. Oh, also, but there you need to first add the dependency of the Hilt, which I've not added really. Yeah, so we need to add the dependency of the Hilt. So first thing first, let me just go to another project that I've added the dependency of Hilt. First thing first, go to build.gradle and add this, apply plugin, Dagger Hilt Android plugin. So that's what we want to do. We are in the build Gradle. So because here just put ID. Second thing, now we want to add Dagger compiler, Dagger Hilt compiler to our project. Just copy this. First, you need to add this Dagger Hilt Android and Dagger Hilt Android compiler. Just copy this. To make it easier, let me just upgrade them to the latest. Sure, you only need those two. The other ones, that they don't matter for now, but if I use Work Manager, you can use them. But for now, just use the Hilt and Hilt compiler and sync the project.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think you like the class part for Hilt, the Gradle.
Oh yeah,
plugin.
yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. You need to go fast also as well. Yeah, you need to add class path for Hilt in the build.gradle project. So sorry about that. Let me just copy this. Yeah, so we have two build Gradle. The first one project, second one module. Module can be NAP module, project module, anything that you have. But build Gradle project module is what comprises everything, every module in that particular app. So go to Hilt, add the path. Let me just change it and try again. Yeah, so now we can now access Hilt Android app. After having that, you need to come to manifest and come to application and add name and put as Hilt Android app Evo2. Now you tell Hilt that Hilt need to generate dependency for this particular project. After that, now we can go to vModel and put it at Hilt vModel. And now, because we want to provide this thing, we don't need this sort of client provider. We can just come here and create a new package and call it DI. That's mean dependency injection, and let's just call it app module. App module, it will be object, but you can have it as a class, doesn't matter. And we want this module to, we need first to like module to tell Hilt that this is a module that needs to be injected, and it will be until the app is destroyed. So we'll have it at singleton, at component, and we'll have singleton component. That means it
Ronnie, I think it should be installing.
Oh yeah, installing. Yeah, at component, yeah, it will be sorry in the component. I think I'm just using the old Hilt, whatever, but yeah. So that means it will be installed in the single component until the app is destroyed. Yeah. So here we'll provide first, we'll provide retrofit. Retrofit will provide HTTP, provide anything else that you need to provide. So first thing first, let's come to the HTTP and just copy this. Copy this. Copy this. And here you can have at provides. At provides fun provide HTTP. So this will provide the HTTP for all the project. And also we can have provides fun provides retrofit. And just copy the way it is here. First of all, let's copy this and just put it somewhere else. It does need to be, can just put it anywhere else. Let's just put it there. And we'll now provide the retrofit from the module. Return. Yeah, because now Hilt know that we have provided the HTTP here. We don't need, we just put something like HTTP client there and pass it as the client. Now, under the hood, this method here will be called to provide the HTTP client that will be injected to the retrofit. The reason we are doing this is because retrofit HTTP client and third-party libraries that we don't own and we can't change the code. So we need to provide them this way. But our own classes can be provided differently, which I'll go through. Now, because retrofit need to create the API. I think it's here. This one here. This. Retrofit need to create that API for us to call the data. The API somewhere here, this one here. This is what we call to get the data, get players, we pass the page and page number and everything. Just come here and put just another one that provides fun provide players API. And just put return. And we'll just pass retrofit here because retrofit is provided here. Just the same way this was passed here, it will be passed here. Retrofit. Now we have created this class, the API, players API class. Now we can access it. Now, because this we have used all this, we can just remove this particular class because we don't need it anymore. Don't need it anymore. Now in the repository again, we don't, because we remove that API, we can now change it to class. And we'll now inject the API by calling at inject, and having var, and you can call it anything you like, but it's just like at inject constructor, sorry, at inject constructor, and I call it var, let's say var API of players API. You see, now this one has been provided by Dagger. We don't need to create it here. It's provided by Dagger, and just get those things that you need. And now in main V model, also we don't need to call repository this way. We need to inject repository the same way. You just put at. Okay, one thing to notice is that this repository is not provided as we did with this, because this repository is, we own it, and as long as we just put inject constructor, it will be added to the graph, so we can just access it. Now in the main model, we just put at inject again. Constructor, and put our repository. And now let's is equal to, this is another way of calling, just call it repository dot get players. Perfect. That's how easy it is. Now we don't need to write a lot of things. That's how this is. And now in our main activity, we can now add, as I said, add at Android entry point, tell the Hilt that this is Android component that will have things injected to it. Now the way it is, we have used what's called Kotlin KTX, this one here, to provide this V model, but also you can provide it manually. That's a lot of things, a lot of work. You don't need to do it on your own. Now, as the code is, it should work. It should work if we compile it. If anything else, but I don't think there's an issue. We don't need to change anything in the main activity. It should work. Now that we have injected things via constructor, let's run the app and see what happens. And now let's try to inject things via field injection.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes.
Yes, so I have a question. So if you
Yeah.
go back to the main activity,
Yeah.
you say that, so at line 19, the view model is, can we like inject it, or
Yeah,
just
but there's no need for us to do this because it has been provided for us by Kotlin KTX. This is the method that need to provide it. It's there already.
Okay.
We can do it, but there's no need for us to do. We can just call it the way I call it this way, and it will work. Now you see, it's working perfectly. Yeah. Now the app is still working as it should be. How do I remove this thing here, Zoom? And I'm recording every time. Okay. Now the app still works the way it is, but now we have moved everything into the app module. We have provided the KTP retrofit for the players API. Now, what if you want to provide something else? Like, let's say, let's get a new class. Let's say class. Let's say what's called? Let's call names. Class names. Class names as this function called get name. I'm just whatever I did the other time. Get name, and it returned Ronnie. Now, for us to access this class in, let's say, main activity, we can use something called field injection. But first of all, we need to have at inject constructor in it. at inject constructor that way. And now come in the main activity. Let's just put let init var, let's say names of names, and it need to be public and just put at inject that way. And for us to know that it's working, I think we can toss something with the name. So let's now toss something. Let's say names dot get name. This should toss Ronnie. This what's called field injection. And the other one of the model like this is what's called constructor injection. You can use any that feels great for you. So here we are. We can now call this method without creating an instance of it in the main activity because Hilt has created that for us. Before we could do something like var names is equal to names and have this. But now we don't, we just declare it's like a variable, but we don't really construct it on our own. So this should now work. If I run the app, it should toast Ronnie because we have injected names class in our main activity. You see, it's toasting Ronnie. That's how you can use, that's like high level of how to use Hilt. It's so easy. Like before that, we had to do a lot of things with Dagger 2, but now because Hilt is built on top of Dagger 2, everything that has been so much easy. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to go through. If anyone has a question or something that I can add or clarify, yeah, they can ask that.
Yeah, sure. So if you have a question, you can feel free to ask, unmute and ask, or type it in the chat. So I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it like what are the situations where you have to use dependency injection? Is it a must you use it in a small app, or it's majorly used in a production-based app?
I don't think it's a must for you to use in a small app, but I think it's best used for you to use. So if maybe a person looking at your code can see that this person is using the injection, and yeah, they can work in a big team. But the thing is, having a small software, maybe dependent injection can be a overkill. But if when that software is growing, now their advantages will be greater than their setting up time, their generation time and everything. Yeah, but in a small app, it can be, you can have a lot of generated code than your own code. But as the app grow, you will see the need of the injection. For example, let me share one of the app that I'm working on, just to know maybe how big the app can be. Mine is small, but it can be big.
Oh, okay.
So here, this is one app. I have from app module, common data and everything. And also I have build variants. There should be 3 apps from this code base. But first I have the rider. And if you come here, I can change to customer. So these are 2 different apps in one project. That means it's a kind of big code base. Now to show how it works, I can run customer. You see different app with launch, and I can run rider and you see different app is launched. And I will have like maybe 4 apps from this one code base. So it can be a big one, especially if you have a big, let's say, big app like Twitter. those are a lot of modules, more than 200 plus module. So for you, what the heck is going on?
So it depends in like how you foresee
Yeah.
the app growing.
Yeah, how the app is growing. Yeah, that will really help a lot. Let me try to run this app. I want to show something. Navigating customers. So just a moment. So if you can see, this is one part of the app, the rider part of the app. So yeah, the rider part of the project, this is one app. That's because I've built variant of rider, and I can change to customer. It should build, I don't know why it's not building. And now if I build this, it will show another different app. Let me see if it will build. There's an issue, but I can show you the app from it's not here. Well, it's not here, but it's not. I don't know why it's not working. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But here I have like those two apps. Let's say now you have more than 3 apps in one code base. You see, things can get crazy. And as David says, if you start like doing anything you like in the code base, when it's small, it can get so archaic. Like people can just throw anything they like because they see that people are not following any rule here. But you need to have rules so that if you have a new person coming the code base, they need to follow this set of rules and everything. If you just have anything the way it is, people can just put anything they like everywhere, and that will generate a very, very bad like experience with developing that app.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Theophilus has a question which I also wanted to ask. So Theophilus asks, one of the benefits of dependency injection is it isn't testing. I'm interested in knowing more how it isn't. Yeah, so Theo like asks, how does dependency injection help in testing? Like,
I remember.
where does it come in?
Yeah. I remember mentioning this when I saw that, because sometimes dependency injection can make testing be hard. Sometimes it can be easier because we have this Hilt library that help us in testing. But general rule is that dependency injection make testing kind of hard, to be honest. That's why we have these classes like Hilt as Hilt testing libraries that help us test Hilt programs. So that kind of make it easy, because if you have Hilt will have generated this code, know how it is and know how it can be tested. But general rule is that it's kind of make it hard. On my part, on our part, mostly if you were testing, most of the time, we don't use this injection. We just inject the injection like normally with the calling the class and having the dependency injected in them in that class just for the testing, because testing is not something that will be run every time. We'll only run that time that you are doing it. So on my side, I feel that DI has made testing kind of hard. That's what I feel. But with the libraries like Hilt testing, kind of it's very kind of easy because they have tested this library for us and they see how they work. So there's that.
Okay, so yeah, thank you for that. I guess Theo, has your question been answered well? You can unmute if you want to add on it. So like what I've seen people do, like mock mock test, mock web server, something of the sort. I'm not sure, like mock something, fake something. So is it part of dependency injection, or when it comes to testing, like creating mocks?
So you can use Mockito to fake or mock things. They're not part of it, but it's just fake that particular class or what you want or activity that you want to test. For example, if you have maybe class names, it won't have that class names really the way it is. It just fake it and you can access it. If you have the activity, you can now test activity without running emulator or phone because it will just fake it and run it to make testing kind of, yeah.
Sure.
I know why this was not working. Let me try to move it and run it again. Just a moment.
So if you have a question, you can ask. If you want something to be clarified, you can also ask.